I came there, he showed me how to repair straps and so forth and so on, and I did that. That's when I was introduced to the leather goods business. Working from the summer, all summer long, I got a pair of shoes from my.
Oh, that's what you earned was a pair. Well, that was a lot in those days. And I always hated poverty, even as a kid, because I saw so much of it. And I said, that boy reminds me of my brother Benny. Oh, Benny was my role model. We all worked in the factory. As I said, you were the benefactor.
It's all different today.
It's all different today.
Yeah.
I'm going back 50.
It's all different.
I'm going back 50.
It's much better today. Much better today.
But where did this all begin? Where
Papa was born in Svenegavup, it seems.
Yeah, that's where.
Mama was born in
Kiev.
Key in the
Kiev.
in Kiva Gubernia.
But Key is exactly.
How many verst? What's miles or
I see
kilometer?
I see Kiev is when the Urotka I found. We have two sets of grandparents. We had grandparents in Buki. We had grandparents in Zvidyurodny.
Yeah, like grandparents in Zvenigorodka, did they own a bakery or something like
Yeah.
that? Why don't you tell us about that?
That was little quarters there. They lived there. We used to live nearby there, so we used to walk down there almost because it was the entertainment. So during the evening, we used to go down and spend time with them. That's why I met my uncle, who had the
leather, the harness business.
exactly that. Our entire childhood, I remember well. We had a lot of fun there playing with them there. We used to go to cheder together or school together, and we lived on a farm. That's when we had most fun,
What kind of animals did you have?
Well, our cows and horses and so on and so on, and chickens, naturally. We lived there for 3 years. My father had his cooperage business right there, consisting of a house, which is one room, and our living quarters right next to it.
And what kind of cooking facilities do you
Cooking facilities was, we used to have the old ribbit. That was a long kind of a ocean safe. It wasn't a stove, no. It was made out of
like a hearth?
into the
wall. It was like
wall, yeah.
like an open hearth.
Open heart, that's right. And on top was a room to rest,
Like a loft space.
That's
And everybody fought to sleep on there because this was the spot in the house.
that was the best place to sleep. The only thing we did cook was we used to cook on Friday to carry over for Saturday. So all the food be prepared for the weekend was done on Friday.
Right. So in other words, there's a real Shabbos in your home.
Of course.
And well, mother came from an extremely religious family.
My grandfather was called a Boshem. And anytime anybody in the old country used to buy chickens, and they thought was something was used to go to him for a shala, to pass judgment whether it was kosher or not.
And he taught Hebrew, and he always said.
This was the grand
Schwarz-Crown.
Do you have any idea how many families lived in that community as Zvenigorodka? Were there a few hundred, or was it a thousand?
The population of Zvenigorodka, there must have been about 5,000.
So that was quite large for a village.
There were 100 Jewish families.
And was there a big synagogue in the city?
And I can remember going to synagogue. It was one tremendous synagogue. It probably held a few hundred people there. And the women used to be upstairs, enclosed with, craters and so on and so on. We were downstairs. And one thing we did have, we had one of the best cantors in I still remember his voice, so beautiful it was. But he was half drunk all the time.
Also, do you remember the beginnings, how Mom and Papa met? Do you remember?
How the heck can I remember all of them?
Well, I remember the stories, Mama.
The story you remember, you don't remember they met.
No, I hardly. Papa was engaged to Mama's elder sister, who was a beauty.
And she died.
She died.
Just a second about the
Oh, no,
second one.
you're a little confused. And grandfather,
That's the story of my life. I'm always confused.
well, Zayda, grandfather Israel, and Baba Rochel, and grandfather loved our father Beryl.
Wait a minute, just a minute.
The grandparents had Mama and her sister,
Right.
and there were 3 brothers.
Okay, what would you remember their name?
Uncle Pacey,
Right.
Ferrari, and David, who was killed in World War I. However, he was married to Papa's half-sister, Leah, who
Beautiful,
was a beauty.
beautiful lady.
Do you remember?
Beautiful lady.
And there was the Papa's, and then
Who's this one on the end there?
this is Levi.
Now, Levy's the one who went to Argentina.
He went to Argentina, became a furniture manufacturer.
Correspondent.
And they used to reminisce.
Yeah.
They were so funny. They had the greatest sense of
They were
humor.
very close, I
Uncle-
think.
extremely close.
So who was older, Papa or
Papa.
One doesn't travel out the other. In fact, he will let him move out of the side because he was a little, I wouldn't say he was a little backwards, but he...
Shy, quiet. No, well, the mother died when he was 9 months old. When Dudek was so Papa had to take care of
They
him.
probably raised him.
He did not walk until he was 4 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
And Papa carried him. They thought he would never survive.
These are the stories I never heard.
It's the stories
I've usually manufacturing story, but
No.
so
Interesting anyway, so go on.
from Uncle Dudek and Tante Yenta, because the grandfather remarried and the stepmother was a stepmother. And she gave birth to Leah and Levi and Myra. David, as I mentioned, was killed in World War I. Myra remained in Russia, and Levi went to Argentina, and Dudek, of course, came to the States with Papa. They were
If there was any correspondence with the relatives who remained in Russia after you were all here in the United States?
we corresponded for many years. And in fact, we knew what they were doing until the war came along. That's the time they were all wiped out.
So they were killed during the First World War?
Yes, and everyone. That's the time we lost track of them entirely.
Do you remember when Grandpa first came to America? I know he made many trips. Do you remember when the first trip was or any story?
Well, Grandpa came to America twice.
Okay.
The second time he came, he was 99.
Mhm.
And at that time, the immigration was so great that they didn't have enough room to let him into New York City.
Well, I think something like 500,000 Jews came in one year.
That's the reason.
2000 came another
That's
year.
the reason. When I came to New York City, they had people from Galveston, Texas.
Pop and Dudek went to Galveston, Texas.
They were there to greet him and take him right down to.
Do you still remember the stories? The ice cream?
They worked. No, they worked first. They worked in a junkyard, which was the trade for Jews who were down, immigrants who were down south.
Right.
After making there for about a couple of months, they thought it was a little too dirty and too hard. So they got the idea of going into business. And the business they went to was hiring a truck and selling ice cream.
But they weren't too successful because they were beat up. They couldn't speak a word of English. They were robbed and beaten up. And if they had remained, it could have been Beryl and Dudek ice cream like you had Ben and Jerry.
Excuse me.
Yeah, they were here for about 2 3 years, 1909 to 1910 or 11. They accumulated, I think, some money. And the reason why they had to leave the second time, because the army, they were ready
To draft
to
them.
draft them.
Well, I know. What's that?
That's the reason. That's the reason they left the second time. So we came here in 1912. My father earned enough money, maybe $100 or so, and the rest they borrowed from the friends and relatives.
So that's when you and Sam and Jaime and Annie, we don't remember.
And my aunt, tante, the aunt and the family came.
And
And Honolulu and Paula.
no, Paula was born here, Honolulu.
We didn't travel one or the other.
Do you
We
remember what
went
that trip
several.
was like?
We took a train either to
Yeah, sure, 7 days.
Hamburg,
La Havre did.
La Havre,
Yeah.
Libava,
Yeah.
Libava.
Yeah.
And how far you traveled on the train.
Yeah, 4 days on the 4 or 5 days.
Well, Mama,
And we had, for food, we had, Mother may she rest in peace, she made a lot of plum jelly,
Pavidla.
pavidla.
And she took that
And
with
you must know, plums and prunes,
before they dry. Or
and if you eat enough prunes
Keeps you going.
in it, and we didn't hold that, we exploded right on the tray.
But Mama said she will never forget that trip. She didn't forget until the very her last days. It was the most horrible and memorable trip of all.
Your ocean voyage is like the
That's
cute
why
too.
us we came not on a steerage, but we came third class. Of course, the reason I know how bad it was on the steerage because the trunks used to ship down the steerage, and something or other we needed some things belonging to needed. I went down on one day. I want to tell you something. I hardly came back because that's the reason I know what the difference between a steerage and third class.
Just crammed in together.
The smell on it was absolutely
Horrendous.
Well, anyway, at my age, we didn't mind it because we were young. We were Sandy. We were a group played, and at nighttime, we used to sneak up to the top tier there, where people used to play cards and so forth, entertainment there, and we'd sneak up there with fly around the floors and we pick up coins and all. We were a lot of fun.
So you really made a bundle when you were.
Absolutely.
This was the kind of casino.
Those are what do you call it? Connoisseur, a cockaseur, even then.
I see. How long did that trip take, Uncle Ben?
It must have taken 10 days or 2 weeks.
10 days.
Yeah.
The ship docked. It sailed from Le Havre in France, and it docked
And Ellis Island.
Ellis Islands.
Ellis Island that's another story. That was a beautiful story. You see, everybody came to Ellis Island. One another, they had the communication with their husbands or relatives and they probably either sent them a wire or a day or two before.
Papa was an American, yeah?
Yeah, yes, and his brother, sure. And every day we sent them a wire, and they were got there the same day as we arrived, or we got the following day.
Oh, boy.
And in Castle Garden, we got there must have been 200-300 families there arrived at one time. That all they had there was benches and tables.
This is in the Great Hall.
Great hall, which is still existing now.
Yes, they're renovating it.
Yeah, of course, it looks much better now. Plus, in those days, there was nothing but a barn. And
they had doctors there examining your tuberculosis.
before you're released, you have to go through an examination of doctors. And believe me, many a times, I can still remember well that such families are broken up because either a daughter or a son, whoever was it, could not pass the test. They had trachoma. What is it?
They were sent back to Russia? All by themselves? Oh, my God.
Yeah. At night, came, about 5, 6 o'clock when everything was supposed to be taken care of. Was no one there for us, so we had to remain and sleep overnight on the benches.
Oh, my goodness. And none of you spoke English, or did...
I did.
You did. You spoke English? English? By the time English.
The Russian or Yiddish they spoke there.
But the following day, Papa and Joda came to get you, to take you to
We were
the Lower East Side.
standing there, and lo and behold, who showed up? 2 stately, good-looking men with brown babies. Brown babies, one with the shoe, what kind of bulldog shoe? Bulldogs, yellowish bears, yeah. Tomato smiles and everything was fine.
They were so happy to be here.
Yeah.
So you made this trip on the trolley car from Ellis Island or Kessel Garden to Cherry Street, where Grandpa rented a...
No, it was Henry Street.
Henry Street.
That was the first.
We lived on 450 Henry Street.
Was it for whatever?
On the first floor there, that was the same place where our relatives lived. And we got settled there.
These were Papa's relatives.
Yes.
Okay.
We got settled there, and we lived there a few weeks. It was during the summer months. And somehow or other, the air wasn't as fresh as it was in the old country. Didn't smell as good.
Mama used to get sick. I remember her telling, and she hated what she called a dry street without a tree, without flowers.
And she got very sick.
Well, the air was polluted in those days.
They were
The
horses.
simple reason we lived right near a stable.
They were stable.
And our bedroom window and the stable window were together.
So
Mama used to pass out. Oh my God. That's when they moved to Cherry Street opposite a park. Times were very, very difficult.
So at $5-6 a week and take care of a family of 5.
Well, did you get a job when you were still a child, Uncle Vin?
No,
You went to school when you came here?
sure.
There's his autograph book. I don't think Benny saw that. From 1917.
1970 PS1.
PS 147, correct.
Goodness.
I had that.
Ah, this is fabulous.
Absolutely. We have it. We threw
And everything.
everything out.
No, I don't throw anything out. I'm very nice about
Everything. So you went to public school, but you also went to cheder. You studied, you went to cheder.
Of course, it was a cheder because I had a bit of a mitzvah next year. So I went, of course, I went to cheder.
Do you remember your bar mitzvah?
Do I remember? I was the best in the class. I did very well. And I always had pennies. I mean, cupcakes, pennies. And when I used to see those guys with the push carts, selling bananas, And I went downstairs and I pointed out, in those days they spoke English and Jewish, so forth, these peddlers. And I asked them, what is this? And he says, bananas. I says, so I'll take a banana. I went upstairs and I showed it to my father. I said, look what I got, 2 bananas. Tell you something. You can realize earning $5 a week with 4 in a family. So what you had to spend for lunch was exactly 10 or 12 cents, consisting of a loaf of bread. Those days was 5 cents. 2 herrings were 2 cents. A cocoa was
A penny?
penny or 2. So you see, in 12 cents we had lunch for 6, 7 people. Also delicious.
That amount fed the whole family?
Well, your whole
That-
family. For lunch.
Wow.
Isn't that strange? Do you remember you were born here? Sophie and I were born on the kitchen table at 450 Cherry Street with Jacques Delavine.
I remember when you were born.
You were there.
I had to run for the doctor. I remember.
You did. And Sam was 18 years old and he was so embarrassed he wanted to throw me out of the window.
I don't think
You don't remember that? He was 18 and you were 15.
I can remember him when mother gave birth on Cherry Street. He walked from Henry Street to Cherry Street, and he walked up 3 flights. He delivered the babies right on the kitchen floor.
What did he charge? $1 or 50 cents?
I don't think he charged a tithe.
That's unbelievable. So he delivered on Sophie first.
Yes.
Me, I wasn't there.
1914. And then mother. And then I was born in 1916. We were
For crying out loud, I left from Nike at 1920.
Well, that's right. We were just kids.
You know something? It's a damn good thing I left.
There was no wolf.
There would have been no place to sleep.
My earliest childhood memories, I remember my sister Annie sitting in the park and holding me. I was wearing a rose-colored teddy bear suit, and I was very chubby. And my nickname was Fatso, as you could see from some of the pictures.
She very fat. So
Fatso, yes, I'm cherubic countenance like Benny and Papa and so forth. But I remember the push carts on Monroe Street. And as a matter of fact, all these, I think Mama must have paid 10 cents a piece for that agate ware, which I remember. And the strainer for the soup. We always had chicken soup.
and you remember those herring barrels
Barrel, yeah.
For herring?
in there? And pick out a herring for a penny, a
Yes.
cupcake.
And Kopka is a penny. And I also remember Passover time, there was a barrel. And all of us sat around the barrel. We picked the grapes. We had baskets of grapes, but Sophie and I were very upset because the grapes were sour.
When he made his own wishnik.
Oh, we used to steal them behind the door.
What is his?
Big.
Very fine cherry wine.
So Passover was your favorite holiday?
Passover was wonderful because we always got new oilcloth on the floor, the Dolingham.
That's right.
And Sophie, Annie, and I used to slide over it, and we always got new shoes.
Right.
And in the front room, remember?
And you remember when I was in Nike, came Passover, they used to come here, was to bring. Well, I live with a Schwartz family in Nyack.
Were they relatives or?
No relative of mine, but very friendly. I lived there. In fact, I used to take my evening meals with them. They had a grocery store. And before Passover was there, they used to sell eggs. Like used to send a case, I don't know,
eggs.
a entire case of eggs.
Eggs for Passover.
Passover home and
Cherry Street, Brooklyn.
then I used to send to Tante Yenta once in a while.
And we had a marvelous relationship with our relatives. Weekends, it was Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. All we did was visit. It was one night in our house, one night in Tantienta.
Well,
Sunday, do you remember we used to play in Itzy's laundry on the table?
there was nothing else to do in those days. There were the movies was far out. Yes, I used to go to movies just to be 2 for $5. And I used to hold 2 cents. They used to holler sitting outside. Who's got 3?
And we had a mantelpiece, which was a fireplace in the old days. And I remember very distinctly, it was Hanukkah. And we woke up, Sophie and I woke up, and there were F&B dolls sitting on that mantelpiece. And we used to hang our stockings, whether it was Christmas or Hanukkah.
Would you believe?
And Jaime used to fill Jaime and Anna used to fill the stockings, because we had no money, with potatoes and old toys and all kinds of silly things.
Didn't some other kids fill stockings with something other than potatoes and anything on Halloween, Ma?
Oh, on Halloween, yes.
What happened
There
then?
was always the war. We were the kikes, and the Irish kids were the Mickeys,
We had them. Yeah.
and the Italian kids were the Wops.
So we lived in a Christian neighborhood. Most of our friends were very rich.
Coming home from school, Sophie and I went to 110 on Cannon Street, which was quite a board, and we used to circumvent Jackson Street.
Well, like those gang wars?
Yeah, it was only on, yes, there were. And they would fill their long black stockings with flour, and they would beat us up. So we ran.
And after Cherry Street, you moved to
Georgia
Avenue, which is in what, East New York?
95 Georgia Avenue.
Exactly. It was, but it was a beautiful street. It was a 2-family house. We had a 6-room apartment. And down the street, about 2 blocks away, there were the Hegeman Farms.
Right. Fortunately, by that time, I was already in Nyack.
Yes.
So you used to come from Nyack to visit the family on Georgia Avenue.
Yeah, so it would have come. Sophie and I could never find the Oreo crackers that Mama hid for you, the cookies, and this is the plate.
See that?
We used to turn the house inside.
Sorry, I'm Portland.
So I always had Oreo cookies just for you.
So you were sort of a favorite, shall we say?
Lenny was the apple of Mama's eye. He was a favorite. We had a canary, and Sophie was a very sensitive person. The canary died. And Sophie put it in a little box and lined it with satin. And it was raining, and she walked all the way down where the farms were. She buried the poor little bird, the canary. And she loved animals. And we had this beautiful big cat. He used to sleep with Sophie with her paws around Sophie's.
What has the cat's name?
Abby or whatever we called her.
I think we found the cat.
I don't know where she came from, but she was an unusual cat. She was huge and she was white, and we loved her. And you came driving up in your green Diana Moon.
I bought a car.
What's a Diana Moon?
I want to tell you.
Was that the make or the name of the car?
When I was at the business for first year or second year, I saw a car there which I could not pass up. But the most beautiful, in those days, I made cars called the Moon, which has a long, the Rolls Royce didn't look as good as that.
Oh boy, it was a beautiful.
Wasn't it beautiful? I think I got it through a friend of mine. I think it sold in those days. I think it was even those days were sold for $2,000.
I still, it's in brain. No. Jaime had the convertible. I can still see Mama's face. My son, the pocketbook manufacturer.
A rich man.
Oh, he came with his car. Oh, she was so proud.
Oh, I see that.
She was so proud. But then later, when Jaime was in Nyack, and he used to come to Brooklyn to take us to the factory Nyack, that was an all-day trip from Brooklyn. We used to pack a lunch. And it was a maroon Chrysler Roadster. And Sophie and I and Annie, or just Sophie and I, would sit in the rumble seat.
I remember that.
Who was the first in the family to get married?
Sam.
And do you remember anything? Did you go to the
I
wedding?
remember the wedding very well.
Absolutely.
What was that like?
It was in Williamsburg. It was a beautiful wedding, and there were doves flying.
Real doves? They had
Just real doves.
That's where I met my first.
That's where you met Helen. She was 16 years old. She was a raving, redheaded beauty.
No, not necessarily.
She wasn't redhead or wasn't real?
I tell you why, for the separation. She was 16. I didn't
And
Kept-
you were 22.
I didn't catch up with her until she was 19.
And you were 28 when you got married. And Mama, oh, how Mama
29.
get 29. How Mama wanted you to get married.
I didn't want to get married.
No, but your Mama forced you into it.
So then you had a factory up in Nyack and a showroom in New York, and then you sent for the family.
And I brought you to Nyack.
Then we went to Nyack.
What was Grandpa doing at the time? Grandpa was still making barrels?
No, Pop retired prior
prior to coming to Nyack.
Yeah. But when he came to Nike, I think he was then fully retired. They got a job in a factory.
You put it to work so that he would
And whatever he did, he worked in the factory.
I cut out the Rhoda Reviewer section of the Papa's Jewish paper. And talking about Jewish paper, that's how I learned to speak real Yiddish, because we spoke only Yiddish at home. We learned to speak English on the street or in school. And when my parents moved to Nyack, they had a difficult time. They could just barely.
Did they ever learn to speak English?
Not well, but they managed to be understood.
So now we're talking what year about?
1932.
1932.
And I was 16, Sophie was 18, and we had the nice little house on Ross Avenue.
And your sister Anne was where at this time?
Anne was already...
No, she was working. She was married. She was working for us in a showroom in New York City.
Now, when did Aunt Sophie meet Uncle David?
In 1932, that was the year we came to Nyack. And it was a small Jewish community. So we had a coming out party. We made our debut.
Oh, the debutante ball.
The debutante. And we invited,
I can imagine.
we invited all the boys. Uncle David was at Cornell and Murray Weinstein, and the boys were home for college.
Did Uncle Benny get invited to your coming out?
No, he was married and had children. He was an old man. We played post.
Oh, that's right. I didn't remember that.
You played post office with the boys?
Oh, my goodness.
So risque.
We used to neck.
Oh, very.
We used to go up on the Hook Mountain. Do you remember the Hook Mountain, Benny? All the boys had cars.
A lot of fun things happened in Nyack.
Yes, we met Aunt Pat, who later married Jaime,
Right.
and her sister Peggy. And they introduced us to horseback riding and ice skating when I fell on the pond and got myself a black eye.
And then didn't you make costumes for parties at drapes and all sorts of things like?
And Annie and Marilyn used to come and spend the summers in Nyack.
Yeah, she was great with her hands.
So very well, extremely creative and talented. She painted, she sewed.
Oil paintings?
Oil painting, she drew.
What was the first time you got behind the wheel of a car?
Oh, I was 16 and Jaime tried to teach me to drive. Jaime had hands of gold. He could do anything from laying brick to electrical work. And Sam, on his own, learned how to make pocketbooks and patterns, if you recall. You put him in the factory too.
When did you first meet Daddy? Jackson.
Brighton Beach memoir.
Tell you, that was some romance.
Was that really? How was that?
1940 or 1941.
We'll find out, won't we?
During the war. So he called while I was in Florida, and he thought, well, if I can afford to go to Florida during the war, maybe I had money. Well, anyway,
He thought you had money?
I guess so, if I could afford it anyhow.
Oh,
But we started to date, and so it was.
I think that's the main reason they moved from Nyack to Brooklyn, because they knew if they didn't, they would remain old maids.
I was.
I think so.
Your mama was worried about us.
Yes.
This is Mama's wedding ring. All of us were married in Mama's wedding ring, the old wedding ring. Mama brought this from Europe. I'm backtracking. Mama sewed all our clothes. I don't know how she did it, and this is her thimble. Mama's gone 42 years. I still shine her thimble. Jaime used to take us to Orchard Street. There were push carts, Sophie and me.
Used to buy all these ones.
And we bought all these little brass things. And there was a stagecoach, which went to Sophie's, and she tried to fix it up.
I guess I remember those candlesticks.
You should. Mama brought those from Europe. They were her mother's or her grandmother's. And there's a little cover here, a little pillow sham that Mama had made in Europe. And many of these little things.
To some families, it's handed down from generation to generation. And some families are really.
I never left home because
You did, but say, take me. I left home as
we were 18.
I was 18. And somehow or other, I kept up my tradition.
It's just so wonderful, as I mentioned before, thanks to Dick, that he wants to continue the traditions.
To look back now, I think I should have done more.
In what way?
To be, to come togetherness, with the family.
You were busy with your
But, when you get involved in certain things and you lose sight of the fact that the most important thing in your life is still your family. How much longer we're gonna get?
Well, not too much longer.
It's getting late. I want to go home pretty soon.
Well,
Not now. Please, let's finish it up and we get out of there.
since it's a cat's clan.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's it. Thank you.
Pacey said, was to make a ship with
Yeah, and the girl is shift. I stick there from up here. Son of a
pop. Yeah,
one of the bitches never reply us for anything.
what's it? Did you take that?